My kids empowered me to get out.
What's going on with this remote learning and your lifting COVID?
Working with different elected officials, learning and understanding how to put the community first.
Hello and welcome to Keeping It Real with Shannon. How is everybody tonight? Thank you so much for joining us. And hello to my co-host, Dr. Vanessa DeDanzy. How are you?
Hello, Lottie. How are you? I'm great. Can't wait for today's show.
Yes, because we're all in different relationships. And tonight we're talking about what is a healthy relationship. That can be between a man and a woman, your children, your parents, because we have so many good relationships and some are just bad, and particularly the one with men and women. And we want to get further into that. But joining us tonight, our guest panelist is Miss Tiffany Shannon, Mr. Joseph Ali, Allison Maurice, and Miss Shanice Gatewood Ali. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Peace.
Hello.
Well, listen, we're talking about what is a healthy relationship tonight. And we all have been in relationships, particularly with men. And we think we're in a good, healthy relationship, but sometimes it's not. And then sometimes I've heard I think in relationship like that you are constantly arguing all the time. To me, that is not a good relationship, because I don't see someone arguing all the time if you're in a good relationship. What do you think about that?
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Right. Yeah.
You're absolutely correct. It's toxic. It's bad for your health. It's wear and tear. It wears and tears on your mind, your psyche, your body. And sometimes people just don't want to separate. But sometimes people don't understand we can agree to disagree. And sometimes it's time to say goodbye, and they just want to keep hold on, reminiscing and trying to fix things that's never going to get fixed.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's true.
Some people stay in a relationship just because of the kids, or they might have financial, like a house together, things of that nature. So sometimes staying in a unhealthy relationship, it will cause, like Vanessa said, health issues, all type of stuff could happen. Also, you teaching your children that unhealthy relationship is more acceptable because they grew up with that in the household.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Shanice, because I think with children, it really does a lot of damage to them, whether you know it or not, because, they'll come up with that violent attitude that it's okay for me to hit someone, or be in a confrontation with someone, because they have seen this in their own household. Even if you argue with each other as parents, you have to do it in a way and then show them that it's also still a loving relationship as well.
Yeah, because it becomes normal. This is what the standard of relationships are. When you look at your mother and your father, you see what a relationship is supposed to be. That's your first view of a relationship. So if they grow up seeing their parents go at it day in and day out, they're like, this is normal. This is what you're supposed to go through. And it becomes the norm.
Toxic.
And then toxic.
Yeah.
Well, that's the only
becomes the
example.
norm.
That's the only real example you have of a relationship. Because when we go to school, we don't have relationships 101 in school. All we have is the example that we see growing up. So, I mean, it's best if our parents could instill in us certain values or certain ways to communicate or certain things like that. But I think those subjects aren't really breached much.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's not just a conversation with mom and dad when they're having a typical argument. Sometimes it's an abusive relationship with this physical contact, and that really differentiates what is a healthy relationship and what's the norm and what's not the norm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not even just physical, it could be verbal too, where, the parents are screaming at each other, and now the children think that's okay. And especially for young girls, to think that that's okay for a male to speak or treat a woman that way, then they're going to grow up thinking that's acceptable.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
when the words would be domestic violence for sure. We have the verbal, we have the physical, all of that, the financial piece also. So it's different factors when it comes down to unhealthy relationships. We just got to sometimes take a fall back and see how we communicating with one another, because a real healthy relationship is where you have a friendship with your mate, you know, friendship with your children. Your children should be able to come to you and say, Mom, Dad, this happened, that happened, you know, or your husband, wife, friendship,
Whose
respect.
cat is that? Let's get rid of the cat.
You know whose cat that is.
Okay, then go take care of your cat and come back.
The cat want a healthy relationship
I
too.
know.
No, he don't. He wants food.
Yeah,
He wants food.
You know what? I was thinking, and Joseph, maybe you can also talk on this too. It's like in a relationship, when you're in a relationship with a man, and you know how some men are, they always calling you out of your name. You know, when you get in an argument, you know, they call you out of your name. And like even when you say to them, you know, why would you do something like that? Or why you feel that it's okay for you to say something like that? Especially to someone that you're supposed to be in love with, and this is your, you know, your love. How you sitting there calling them bitches and hoes and stuff, you know?
Well, for me, I don't really do that. I don't really remember really doing that. Like maybe out of anger when I was younger, but I don't really remember my father doing that too much. So, and then the culture that I'm in, that's not respected. So, I think some people do it out of anger. Some people do it out of culture. Like, you know, people in the street, they carry each other in certain ways, or they use the N word, they use the B word on a regular basis. So where they may not mean it, like, you know, with such bite, it carries a bite when it's set in the wrong tone.
Exactly. Yeah, particularly coming from this man that's supposed to love you, and you know they calling you out. I don't want anyone calling me out of my name. Truthfully, I don't care where it is, my man or whatever, friends or whatever, because I think it's totally unnecessary and it's degrading.
Right.
And that's definitely not a healthy relationship, regardless. Even when you're in a situation with your parent, with the children and stuff, and they are disrespectful. Because just take for instance, I'm sure you all heard about the incident with Kirk Franklin and his son. He recorded their conversation and posted it for everybody to hear. I mean, what kind of disrespect? What kind of disrespectful child? Like that?
Kirk Franklin's son did that, right?
I know. Yeah. Yes. I think he thought that everybody was going to be, you know, like so shocked about Kirk Franklin and they're going to turn their back on him. But it didn't turn out like that. They were all for Kirk Franklin because they know how sometimes these kids can be.
Absolutely. That's true.
Because the thing about I think Kirk handled it very well when they interviewed him, because he said, look, I'm a man of God, but I'm a human being just like everybody else. And I am not taking disrespect from my children, you know. And so he let them know that whether he a religious man or whatever, he's not gonna have his son disrespecting him like that. And I mean, to me, I would have dropped him so quick he wouldn't have been in a part of the family for the rest of the time. No, you're not in this family anymore until you learn how to act. You know, I'm sorry, because I mean, this wasn't like a teenager. This guy, what, 30 something years old? This ain't no kid. And you know he knew better.
No, he knew better. And I appreciate what the mother did, because the mother came out and she said that he was wrong for what he did, not the son, and that they had problems with him in the past. And that, you know, Kirk Franklin had been working with him and trying to resolve whatever issues. And it just seemed like they can't get through to him.
Wow. So he probably have a lot of anger, you know, because the dad is not, Kirk Franklin wasn't there. He probably angry because, and that is also what I'm saying. Kirk Franklin trying to help build a healthy relationship with his son, but his son have so much frustration and he's upset with his dad because his dad probably moved on and got married, left mom, you know, and majority of our children, they go through that. You know, they go through that. I have a 25-year-old. She goes through that. You know, I was a single mother with her for so long. And then when Mr. Ali scooped me up, that was it.
That's the issue.
I'm sorry.
That's the issue a lot of times, is that we might have a relationship with our children when we're younger and we're not as established in the beginning. and you know the relationship might not be good. The relationship with the mother might not be good, and then we move on to another relationship and wind up getting established. So now, if you have children in that relationship, they're having a better quality of life than the quality of life that you had in the previously relationship. So that makes resentment within the children, and I heard that that's what's going on with Kirk Franklin's son. Like he was when he had his son earlier, he wasn't as established as he is now, and now he's in this new relationship. He has children, and they're getting the world. So the kid, the son, is like, you know, he's really resentful about that.
Right, you know.
Yeah, but he didn't act like when Kirk and the wife, when they talked, they didn't talk like that. You know, Kirk wasn't taking care of him and giving him money and whatever, you know, they gave the same children he have. It's like they were still trying to bring him into the family to be a part of the family. So I don't understand his. Like I said, we don't know the whole story. We don't know the whole background. Right. I'm just saying, like you were saying, Joseph, about when you get another family. Now, if you move on to that family and you never look back at the first children you had, that's different. Okay, I can see it. But when you bring them kids into the fold of your new relationship and children, because now you established, now you have some money, you can take care of them, then why would they be so much resentment?
But you know what, Lottie? Sometimes families identify with these issues that's going on, and you know, people of color, right? We're not really subjected to counseling when they really can identify some of these situations, and they don't go to counseling. And so when these things build up over the years, you know, what do you have? You have all this resentment.
Yeah. But then probably the child that's, you know, feel like they've been left behind, that they're not really part of the new family, even though yes, dad or mom is giving me everything or whatever, it's not the same as being in the household with both parents. So you feel like you're missing something.
Yeah. All right, then. So we'll continue this conversation. When we come back, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and continue our conversation on being in a healthy relationship. We'll be right back.
It's Shannon.
COVID-19 has changed how we express our faith and gather to worship. Now it's time to take the first step that lets us get back to spreading the word without spreading concern. Before we can safely come together, we need the facts. As COVID-19 vaccines become available, you may have questions.
Should I get it?
Is it safe?
Should I wait?
It's smart to question. Now, get the facts at getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision when vaccines are available to you.
Hi, we're back talking to our guests today about what it is to be in a healthy relationship. And before we went to break, we was talking about parent and children relationship and resentment. I know you had talked about you know, getting counseling and you know, and things like that. But you know, when I listened to them talking, they were saying how long they had been in counseling. They've been in counseling forever, it looks like, and evidently the counseling is not doing any good. So I don't know if it's the big people don't want the counseling, or when you go to counseling, the only way it's going to work if you want it to work.
Right. Absolutely.
That
is the issue. Go ahead, Alice.
Right.
I'm sorry.
It takes, like, honestly, you know, I feel like, you know, families are kind of different. Families have been structured differently, you know, over the years. It's hard to blend a family. It takes work. It takes work to blend a family. And if all the parties involved are not in one accord, it is hard. It's never going to work. No matter what, it's never going to work, because you're always going to have someone feeling like they're missing out. This person is getting more than me. This person gets to see dad every day. Dad doesn't call me every day. You know, if everybody does not come to a table and speak about how we are going to make sure all of the children feel involved and feel loved equally, then it's never, you could stay in counseling for your entire life and it will never work. But if mom and dad aren't getting together, or mom and stepmom don't like each other, it's never going to work, because you have to take your personal feeling out of this. It's no longer about your relationship with whoever you were in a relationship with, we have to be able to speak because you and I have children, and then you and her have children. So we have, at some point, they're going to have to meet and be around each other, and we all are going to have to be around. We're stuck together.
Right.
Right. But I think that comes also, Allison, with people's attitudes and whether they want something to work or not, because they are blending families that really work. They are families that people will get married, they take on the other person's children, and they become just like those people's own children, and you would never know the difference. They are from two different families, but if the people don't want it to work, if they got too much mama drama, that's the whole problem. You know, you can't have all this drama when you're trying to blend things together, and you really need to look at all of that stuff before you get married to get that mama drama straight first before you get married, because it's going to be a problem. And sometimes the men don't know how to handle the mama drama. You need to get that stuff straightened out before you get married. You know,
there's going to be a lot of mama dramas before marriage. How many men out there and women out there having multiple kids and not even being married? So you have that mama drama, you know, all over the place on both ends. So how do you really combat that into a stable relationship?
So this is once again we go back to healthy and unhealthy. You know, if that individual, that woman, that man are healthy people, then guess what's going to happen? The whole situation is going to be healthy. You know, if that individual is an unhealthy, you know, toxic woman, man who keep drama going, then those children is going to bring those same attitudes and, you know, all of that, and it's just going to clash. You know, it's going to clash.
Yeah.
So with that being said, somebody got to be like, look, okay, this is how, and you got to set boundaries. You know,
exactly.
Set boundaries in your house.
Exactly.
You're not going to allow certain things going on in your house because, once again, our kids would take over our whole situation. And once you got to be healthy, you got to know what, as well as relationship, you got to know what you want, as y'all heard. You got to know what you want, what you will accept, what you won't accept, and how do you go about doing that? You know,
and you know, with all that drama, Shanice, you know, a lot of that drama comes from jealousy. That's what it boils down to, jealousy. It is. Because if the other person meets someone and want to move on, and you don't want that person to move on, you the one. That's why you're causing all that drama.
They will start chaos. Yeah,
exactly. They the one starting all the drama, rather than you being happy with the person moving on. And if you're not happy, then just be quiet. Don't say anything. As long as your children, as long as he continues to take care of our children, if we had children together, then that's the most important thing. As long now, if he wants to move on and go ignore the children, now we're gonna have a problem. But if not, then there shouldn't be any problem whatsoever. You just didn't get along with each other. Everybody doesn't fit with each other.
They're not meant to be together. Yes,
exactly.
But you know what? Also, but you know what? We have a lot of kids having kids. Right, and a lot of young adults, young parents, they want to be friends with their kids. They want to be hanging out, going to the club, kicking it here and there, having people come over. They need to really separate what their role is and what that looks like and what it should be.
Right.
Well, that speaks to the boundaries aspect. That speaks to the boundaries aspect. As she said, you got to have certain boundaries with your children because this parental relationship, it cannot blend in. It can't meld together because then how can I guide you? When you're thinking of me as a friend, we smoking, we drinking, we going to the club together and all of that. You don't really respect me as an authority figure in your life because you see me doing that wild thing that I was doing the other night at the club. So, you know, that's how that thing goes.
But it's still good to have some type of friendship with your children. Why? Because you want your children to still come to you and have conversation.
Right.
You know, you still want that. You don't want to be at no club. I know that. I mean, listen, my daughter's 25. I'm 47. What? She be like, Mom, come with me. Are you crazy? I'm not. I don't do it on my regular norm. I'm not gonna do it now. But, you know, and then you got some parents that be puff give. You know, one of those things. And it once again, like he just said, the boundaries, and your children won't accept you as mom, dad. They will look at you like my homegirl, homeboy. So now they start disrespecting you. You know, that's not a good thing. Healthy, at the end of the day, healthy relationships is everything to me. As you see, Joseph, him and I got together the way we did is we build on each other vibe. We build on each other's information. We have conversations. We talk. I remember they used to tell me, put your phone down and listen to him, and he listens to you. Listening, two parties, one person speak, the other person listen, and get it. If I don't understand something, I would tell him. Or I give a look, and he'd be like, you didn't get it right. And that made, and he would break it down. He would break it down for me, so that way I could have a better understanding of what he's talking about. That is healthy. But at the end of the day, you got so many people, like my little cousin, she would say, hey, bitch. And I'm like, wait, hold up. So what's my name? And she said, Shanice. I said, okay. So my next question to you is, what am I to you? She said, I'm your cousin. You're my cousin. I said, okay. Let's keep it that way. Because that word BITCH is not on my birth certificate. Don't use that word. Don't use that word.
That's right.
Because that's why they can talk to you that way.
It's true, and I agree, Shanice, but they're so comfortable using word. It's in the lyrics, emulate everything that's out there, like it's acceptable, it's on the street corner, the music, the books, the regular
Everything.
TV shows,
Yes.
it's everywhere. So like part of the culture, but is it really the culture that you really want? Is it a culture you really want to emulate and teach your kids? No.
Right. So,
but you have to remember, Vanessa, that kids do what you allow them to do. If
That's
you
true.
allow them to not call you Miss Vanessa or Miss Dr. Vendanzi or whatever you want them to call you, that's what they do. Like if the kids look at me and they don't say Miss Shannon, I tell them right quick, you put that handle on my name. I'm not your age or whatever. I'm Miss Shannon to you. Because we got away from that, because see, when we was growing up, we couldn't call an adult by their name. We either had to say Miss, Mrs., or Mr., or whatever. You never call no adult by their name.
You're absolutely right, Lottie. And I'm gonna tell you, none of my kids call me by my first name, and they never call.
No, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. But that's allowed. Some parents don't say anything if they call their kids call them by their name. Yeah. They don't say anything if they're speaking to an elderly person and they are not calling that elderly person with a handle on their name. They don't say nothing to the kid. So the kid think it's okay. It's what you allow them to do. And if you don't teach them, that's what they're supposed to do. That's why the kids are doing what they're doing today.
Right.
Exactly.
See, my mom,
it's like Shanice said, you can be friends to a certain degree, but they have to know when that cutoff point is that now you the parent. Yeah, I want my kid to be able to come sit at the edge of the bed and we talk, and what did you do with the day, blah, blah. Yes, but we need to know when we cut the part that we're not no friends now. I'm the parent here. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
My model, my main model is you got to treat people, you got to teach people how to treat you.
Exactly.
So if you allow people to continue, and I don't care, man, woman, mother, father, children, auntie, grandma, whoever it is, you got to teach them how to treat you, because like we said, at the end of the day, if we allow our children to disrespect us because they grew up and saw these things, or they would try it. Like my daughter right now, she say a little curse words, and it's not hard curse words, it's not the F word, it's not the S word. So she say the A word, right? So she go, so she slip it in there, and I say, what you say? Nothing. Oh, okay. So at the end of the day, she's 25 once again. So she's like, Mom, when can I curse around you? I said,
never.
Right. Exactly.
Never.
Right.
Never.
So she's like, but that's not fair. And I'm like, look, when you get your own crib and have your own bills and you paying everything yourself and you don't need your mama no more, you don't need to give money for no grades and all that stuff, then you can go ahead. But for right now, I still got to give you some coins every now and then. So, no, let's keep it respectful.
Look,
so,
now you know when you're in trouble when your kid can stand toe to toe and talk to you any kind of way they want to. Now you know you're in trouble.
Angie Stone.
Listen.
I just read last night when we was talking about this show. I read Angie Stone. She said her daughter raised up to her, and she next thing she knows, she picked up something, and her two front teeth was missing.
Oh my Lord!
Listen, okay. I mean, listen, I got a male child. My son is 8, and he's here. And I'm like, listen, you're gonna come to a day. There's gonna be a day where you're gonna get that one hair on your nut, and you're gonna feel like you're doing something, and then you either gonna wake up in ICU or at somebody mortuary, because that's not make it. Listen. I would never. My mother was 5'4" on her best day. I'm 5'10". I've been taller than my mother since I was maybe like 8.
Wow.
There is no way on God's green earth I would try. Listen, she was crazy as all get out. I remember my friends in high school being like, yo, we're going to cut school. We're going to cut school. We're going to go to the beach. Listen, your mother must not be as crazy as mine, because my mother will beat me and you.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
So you don't want that smoke. I don't want that smoke. I'm going to be in school. Getting the notes. Y'all can get it from me, but I'm going to be in school.
But you know what? I really think, and I know we're going to get off a little bit of the topic of what I'm about to say right now. When ACS came and stopped us for raising our children, for disciplining our children, that's when all this stuff started happening. It's really getting out of hand. Really. I mean, it's so bad, it's not even funny. But once again, this is what society did.
Shanice,
you had to make that choice.
The law said do not abuse your children. It don't discipline your children. Exactly. It said do not abuse them, and you can abuse them with certain ways that there's not a lick on them, but they gonna get that licking that you gonna give them. That's what they need to get.
But listen,
who cares what ACS
is abuse? Like,
and some kids you can't talk to. They said don't abuse them. Now, we're not going to abuse our kids where they all beat up and in the hospital and something like that. But let me tell you, if you step to me, you're going to think you've been abused. That's what's going to happen. That's number one. So number two, if they come to my door, tell me they arrested me, no, you going and I'm going too, but you won't be coming back here.
But that's actually
the judge wants you, he can keep you.
My mother always quote the Bible. She says, "Spare not the rod," and she stick to that to this day. Spare not the rod. But one thing I did want to say, though, is when it comes to the family life cycle, I took family psychology in college, and it talks about how we have to establish new boundaries as the ages go on. Because when I was young and I was in your house is different now that I'm 40 and I have a wife. So you can't carry me in the same way as a mother now that I'm 40 and I have a wife. When I first got married with my wife, my mother, she wanted to keep calling all times of day, this day and the third. But I'm like, nah, right now I'm spending time with my wife. You can't just be calling me all willy-nilly. I'm trying to chill.
Okay, Joseph. We gotta end this portion of the show. But we're gonna come back in the after show and finish discussing this hot topic that we are on. But I want to thank everybody who's been watching today and joining us, and I hope you have enjoyed the show. Thank you, panelists, for coming on and talking. And remember, you can always continue to see us on Facebook and YouTube, and every Saturday on Brooklyn Free Speech and Manhattan Neighborhood Network. Check your local listing. So thank you again for joining us. And as always, we'll see you next time.
Today's show is sponsored by Abu's Bakery. If you have a sweet tooth, stop by Abu's Bakery for some delicious cakes and pies.
It's Shannon. It's Shannon. It's Shannon. It's Shannon. It's Shannon. Keeping it real. Keeping it real.
Hi, we're back for our after show, and I hope you enjoyed the first part of the show, and now we're back for our after show. But hey, Joseph was talking about that rod because you know what the Bible says: spare that rod and save the child. And that's what they did in the days. Now look, I got plenty of beatings from uncles, aunts, neighbors, or whoever. I'm not abused. There's nothing wrong with me. I mean, you know, occasionally there's something wrong with me or whatever, but you know, I'm still up here. We turned out all right. All of y'all on this stage have been beaten by somebody.
Yeah.
But we turned out all right. So it doesn't. Well, you had to get a tan, and you know, because she had the nerve go step to me one day, like stepping to me. I know you ain't stepping to me. It's like my brother always told her, I told you about messing with that crazy woman because your mother's crazy, but you don't get it.
Listen, Monifa said it. You got to watch out for the short ones.
Right?
The short ones always got something to prove. They always got something to prove. If you don't cry hard enough, if they don't feel like the beating did it, listen, they always got something to prove. Listen, if my mother did not see that one tear roll down, it wasn't effective.
Right.
It was not effective. Like, it got to a point, me and my sister were older, and we were like, listen, when she starts beating us, don't look at me. I'm not gonna look at you because we're gonna start laughing, and then it's gonna go on forever. Like, come on, just let her get her in and out, and we can get out. Okay.
See, and once again, the healthy piece of, you know, your parent discipline. You know, every now and then we do need some type of discipline, because let me tell you, getting out of your mom's household, your dad's household, your parents' household, and grandma, whoever that's taking care of you at the time, and you get out there into the world, discipline is ready for you, baby.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Talk about it, girl.
Listen, discipline teaches consequences.
Right.
Yes.
Discipline teaches consequences.
And the world is harsh. It's not as like mommy at home beating you.
Right.
It's a different story when you get out
right.
there.
It's true.
Not all nice.
Because the parents are not going to be there to protect you. The parents can't be there with you 24/7 or whatever. Especially when you get grown and get a certain age, you need to have learned some kind of discipline just to be able to survive in the world and take care of yourself. When you get your own apartment, you got to know how to survive. You got to know how to take care of yourself. You got to know how to budget, all of that kind of stuff, because all that stuff is new to you. You know,
well,
budgeting you put in trouble.
Well, budgeting, we already know finance is not readily available in the school. So a lot of people go from generational debt to generational debt. So they don't know how to budget and learn, to make their money make money.
Right.
Because the parents not teaching them. Because even though it's not taught in school, you have to teach them. As simple as saving in the piggy bank or saving money. I mean, they had a thing on Good Morning America about it this week, about at least showing the kids how to save and showing them how the money grows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm teaching my daughter now. I mean, she had a whole private piggy bank I didn't even know about. Saving money for her, thinking the money grows. She had a whole private one I knew nothing about. So she was like, "Oh yeah, let me go get some money."
Right? Is that not what she saw you doing? Listen, I'm gonna just keep this money to the side.
Right.
I'm gonna have this money, but this is my side money.
Exactly.
I
was like, I'm
she was receptive to the lesson that you weren't even telling her. She was seeing it. She was like, "Listen, I gotta keep this side money."
That's right.
Exactly.
You be stashing on the low. Y'all be stashing on the low. See, they be teaching. See, the mothers be teaching the daughters different stuff than they be teaching the son. What Kawanda Kajufu said. He said, we raise our daughters and we love our sons. So he's basically saying that mothers, they love their son. They let June, he sit on the thing and play video games all day, but they got the daughter, they teaching her all types of life skills and what to do in different situations and how to do in the house and all of this different stuff. But the son, what does he learn? He don't learn nothing. He got to learn that on his own.
Listen, I will tell you for mine. Listen, what I don't want is my son to have to depend on another woman for anything.
That's right.
Because I had a boyfriend, he did not know how to wash his own clothes. He didn't know how to cook food because his grandmother, especially, God rest her soul, I love her. She made all the meals. washed his clothes, made his bed, everything. So when we got together, I'm like,
Yes. 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 Yes.
Listen, I don't mind the occasional whatever. I don't even want to do my own laundry. You want me to come here and do yours? Listen, listen. Where's your grandmother? Give me her number. Let me call her right now. Hold on, Grandma.
So she can do
no.
You know what? It's funny. In my mother household, she taught her son. You know, my brother's the second oldest. So when I left home at 18, that's when he had to take over. So my mother taught him at an early age. I think he's a great cook. He watches daughters. He had 2, you know, so he's really, really good when it comes out to the family, you know, the unit of the family. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's true. Like all my kids learn how to clean and survive from a young age. They don't know how to survive.
You have to. Listen, I tell my son, listen, if I got to clean up after you, I am making a deposit to the Department of Sanitation. I just listen. Don't put away a choice. See what happens. See what happens. Go get mommy that garbage bag. Go get it.
Right. But Joseph, to your point, what you said a few minutes ago about that the girls always taught something different from the guys. You know what? I think that really comes from, like, as you know, the women are mostly the backbone of the family, right? They the one who kind of carries the load regardless of what happens. They can always kind of figure out what to do to survive. Not that the man can't. I'm not saying that. So, like, when we say we putting away a little money, you know, for a rainy day, I don't think it's like putting it away trying to hide it from my husband or anything like that. It's just you're taught to put away money because you don't know what's going to happen. For the simple reason is, even if we don't tell you about it, because you never know. Suppose something happened and you separate. The man is gone and you don't have any kind of money to back you up to help take care of anything. That's why you need that little money on the side like that. It's not trying to hide anything. It's security. Right. Because anytime something happens, who ends up with the kids? Most of the time the kids stay with the wife. They mostly stay with the wife and everything. They don't go with the father. Very seldom they'll go with the father. They stay with the wife. So you got to have something there because you don't never know what's going to happen. You don't know what. And then sometimes the men will leave and some men will still take care of their family and stuff. And then some won't. They'll leave and don't even look back to help take care of the family or whatever. So now here you are stuck with nothing. At least you would have enough money to pay y'all's rent for a couple of months until, you know, things, in case, you know, the mother wasn't working or something like that, or get fine. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't look at it in the way that what we're being taught, because it should be taught to the son too, but the men can almost always figure out stuff on their own. They always figure out how they're going to survive or whatever. But it's harder for the woman, I feel.
My only pushback on that is this. I'm growing up and I'm seeing, they saying that Santa Claus is bringing me toys every Christmas. And, you know, all of these gifts, you're not telling me how to manage money, nothing like that. So when I get out of the house now, I'm thinking everything is just going to come to me automatically. I'm not thinking that, you know, I got to go out there and I got to make my hands hard because I got to sweep these floors or I got to go get this education and all. Santa Claus is supposed to bring that thing and I'm waiting for that.
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, in my house, I'm Santa. There's no white man coming down no chimney, coming through no doors. Listen, mommy did it. Right. Mommy, I let my son know early. Yes, we put up the tree, all that other stuff. Listen, even at a young age, my mother would even put no white Santas in our window. She shoe polished them black. But she always let us know. Listen, I told you my mother crazy. God bless her soul. Love you, Mom. But she let us know early on, listen, hard work bought this.
Right.
It's not coming from a money tree in the back. It's not coming from some random mysterious person from the North Pole. It came from my wallet.
That's right.
It came from my wallet, and I make sure to tell my son that too. As a single parent, listen, money does not grow on trees. You see this wallet? Those who don't work don't eat.
That's why it's in the Bible. It's in the Bible.
Yes. Sometimes you have to say no.
Those who don't work don't eat. Listen. But to go back to what you said, Caribbean call that vex money. That's what we do. We just keep a little vex money on the side. Listen, Not to say that we have to be vexed, but the world may be vexed at us and
Allison.
it's not because we want to be trifling.
I know that's right.
We just want to be
And
prepared.
don't even try to act like that men don't be putting away money too. So don't even try. Because they be putting away money too. They put away money too.
They got some hustle going on too.
Okay.
Right.
You guys are hiding in somebody Jordan box. Listen.
Exactly. They put away money too. Because I remember when I was married, I was vacuuming my floor one time because we had carpet. So the nail had been come up and the carpet came up. And I'm like, why is my carpet up? So I'm looking in the carpet, they bank book up under the carpet and everything. Like, why is this bank book under the carpet and stuff? Well, because they're saving money too on the side. So get out of here.
You gotta.
Yeah. When we saving money, we might be saving it to get a TV or get a new car or something. Y'all saving money to go get a whole nother house, a whole nother situation.
But we always gotta have an exit plan.
Exactly.
That's right.
Everybody got to say something of a new life.
Well, like our viewer just said, she said we need to educate our kids about the stock market and all that kind of stuff. That is absolutely true. We can do that now because we know, but like back in the day, because I always say back in the day, like if my parents had known about, teaching us about how to invest stuff and all of that, I would be so rich today, but they didn't know that. So you got to learn these things on your own. So now we can teach our kids coming along how to invest and how to invest in the stock market.
But you know what, Mommy? Lottie, what Rockefeller said, right? When they took finance out of school, he said, we're not teaching thinkers, we're teaching workers.
Exactly.
That's true.
Absolutely. Exactly.
We don't need, we're the school now. My husband and I, we have a podcast every Sunday and we talk about certain topics, community topics. And I feel like educating our people is everything, and that's a part of being healthy. Let me tell you something. When you're an unhealthy person, a toxic person, you're not even on that wave level. You on some, when I'm going to get the next Jordans, the Nikes, the this, the that. But remind you, a person that's healthy, that's thinking straight, thinking right, they're like, where's the stock for Nike? Where's the stock for Jordan? And this is true. Or when the next bud, or what can I smoke, or what? And I'm not, listen, I'm not against anybody, what they do, how they do it. But at the end of the day, I know what healthy look like now versus, because remember, I went through domestic violence and I came on the show. When I went through domestic violence, I was an unhealthy person. I was toxic. I was nasty. I was angry. I became the perpetrator, and everybody else was my victim. So I had 1, 2, 3, didn't even care how you felt. And that wasn't nice. That was not nice because I was actually hurting people that really cared for me. So once I understood that, once I understood that and gave some time for myself, what I want to do, how I want to go about doing things, how I want people to treat me, how I'm going to treat people, that's when I got my husband. And I remember our first, some of our conversations, he would say to me, what's your love language? I'm looking at him. Well, we was on the phone. I'm like, love language. So I'm on the Google, like, love language, checking it out, trying to find out what the heck. Because once again, he came from another angle. He had 2 parents in his household. I just had one. And his parents were a pastor and a deacon. So his upbringing, house, and everything was a little different than mine. My household bringing was single mother. I live in Harlem. You got roach, that all these things going on, unwanted animals in the household. He got deers and all of this stuff going on around his house. So everything was a little different. So when he came at me, it was like love language, and it really helped me understand, wow, what is the love language? So love language is words of affirmation, quality time with your mate or with your children, quality time. Words of affirmation, baby, I love you. You can tell your kids, I love you. Give them hugs. When I was growing up, I didn't really get that. I love you and this and this and that. Once again, when he came into my life, he hugged. And I'm like, And I had to realize that my disconnect was from my home at, my mom home. So once again, we talk about family, parents, and the child. You become disconnected with what is love. So you got acts of service. You have somebody who's bringing you gifts, somebody who just show that they appreciate you. He brings me flowers, things in that nature. Physical touch. It's, I was my physical touch was physical touch. Domestic violence, physical touch. Sexual abuse, physical touch. But my physical touch with him is, rubbing my feet, rubbing my leg, rubbing other parts. So with that being said, that was
well, Shanice, what we have to do, and everybody, that's on the panel and people watching that, we have to recheck our relationships to see what kind of types of relationships that we have. What are we in with our children, with our family, our parents, and then just kind of bring it together, be in a healthy relationship. And stop blaming each other for everything and start talking to each other. Get off the phones now and talk to each other, since now you have the opportunity to do it. And that's what we're going to have to go forth and do. And, from this point on, and, build good relationships with each other, because our time is up. When you get to talking good stuff, the time go by so fast and everything, but hey, we got time to continue talking, and we'll talk further again on future shows. We can come back and continue this topic, and the two young mothers that's on the show there, they got to keep their kids straight and respectful and everything, so, the right way, and remember to respect your parents. Respect your parents. The Bible says, honor thy mother and thy father, that your days may be longer. Right. And also honor your husband and honor your wife. You're supposed to love each other. I mean, that's all so important. And as Dr. Vanessa always tells us, invest our money. So we got to invest our money, our VEX money. We got to invest that as well.
That's what I'm going to name my account now.
Invest all the money that we come across. So thank you for joining us tonight. Hope you enjoyed the conversation. And as always, we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Weekend. That was cool.
It's